Hi, team. Welcome to the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Coming up, we cover Conquest and how that works these days. Get a little bit of a refresher for all the new people that are out in the game with their guilds. But first, a tiny bit of game and guild news. Our broadcast astromech today is EPC 177, who seems to be made to suffer. It's his lot in life. With me as always is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
I'm kind of sad right now because I made a huge, terrible mistake earlier today,
How
which
was that?
was, well, I was actually watching a really good video by SWTOR TV about his 5 favorite helms, which doesn't sound like it would be compelling to watch, but I really enjoyed watching it.
Really?
And then I saw he had made a video called How to Get Cartel Coins for Free or something like that. So I was watching that. And in general, I recommend SWTOR TV videos. They're cool. So one point he made was like that you get 20 cartel coins for lots of different achievements, and one of them is when you finish one of the starting planets. And he said you can go and do that on all your characters, and it kind of adds up in the end. And you can go and do it on, all the servers if you wanted to. And I said that sounds like something I might want to do. So I said but I don't quite understand like when you get the achievement. Do you have to finish the class story? I mean, what is it? So I went, the first thing I went to Bergeron Colony and rolled up a character, and I'm watching the rest of his video. I'm watching, and I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't do any customization. I just took the random name, and I was just hitting spacebar, spacebar, spacebar to get through the part where you fly in. I made a Jedi Knight, and I was hitting the spacebar, the part where you fly into Tython, blah, 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 blah. And I look up, and there's Lana, and I'm inside a ship, and she's saying something about Valen. I actually
Oh.
used my 65, level 65 token.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. I don't think
Oh,
it's like, remember for a while it was you could do it over or something? I don't think you could do that anymore, but
you can't delete it right
I was
away
like,
and get your token back?
yeah, like if you delete it before you made a level or something. It used
Yeah.
to be, but I was like, oh my God, this is like totally what you get for not paying attention to what you're doing and not, focusing on what's in front of you. I was literally had my head turned to the side. Anyway,
Oh, that does suck. Well, try to delete it and, you're right, they did
yeah.
have that for a while. I thought they shortened it up, but I thought there was still a little bit of a grace period where you could delete the character you just rolled and get your token back.
I was like, what did they check? What? I'm like, oh my God, she's level 65 because I hit escape and you end up on Odessa and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, I also wanted to say I spent some time this week, Life Day week, with the snowball community on Nar Shaddaa, and it really is like a little community. There's people there who had like 500 of each of the decorations and, lots of snowballs. And basically, it was like this little crowd of people that would run from overheated droid to overheated droid. Like, as soon as the overheated droid finished up, then everyone would scatter. And the first person who would find the next one would say, in general, where they were. And since they had been doing it so much, it was kind of like a little code name of where they were. They'd be like top single. And that would mean he's at the top, on the top level, on the side where the ramp is a single ramp
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I
it was,
hung out and did that for a while earlier in the thing, but yeah, people were really good about it, and yeah, they would do the shout outs in general, and everybody then would run there and throw the snowballs for a while. So
yeah, it was actually pretty fun. I didn't do it for, um, you know, a long time, but I got it. I did it enough I wanted to get 100 parcels because I wanted to buy um, one more vehicle that I didn't have. So
excellent.
I did that. But yeah, my biggest thing is my new level 60 on Burger Colony.
Well, there you go. So
Uh, so how are
call
you
up
doing today?
SEMA if you need somebody in your ops team.
Yeah, right.
Bergeron,
Because I'm
Bergeron.
such a great Jedi Knight, and she's got like one of the cornrow slash bald hairdos. Her name's like Cortina Cott or something.
Interesting. Yes, so this week I did not create a bald Bergeron colony Jedi Knight. Um, but I did. Let's see. Our ops team was still doing stuff on Thursday night, and
Yep.
we've been shaking it up with people in and out. I ended up healing on my mercenary for the op for Karaga's Palace on Thursday night, and I don't know if I've ever actually healed an op all the way through. So that was fine. I real quick. I had done some healing before. I didn't have my healing spec saved for some reason. I looked through it. What I usually do is I use Fraps and I take a picture of my bars when I put a spec together and take a picture of the utilities that I have selected, and I put that off somewhere so I've got it. I didn't have that for healing, but I went on to some site, I think probably Dolphy for the 4.0 specs, picked picked some utilities really quick, set out my bar really quick, tried to look real quick at what the rotations were, mostly just clicked things when they lit up. But by the end of the op, I sort of got the rhythm of what to do, where the procs came from to increase the value of the heals, how to use superheated gas, and all that kind of thing. And it was working out okay. Seema mostly had to do the work of healing the group, but I
No, you
threw a
did great.
couple out
You
there.
did great.
So that was fun. That, and then still getting through a little bit of Conquest Target, doing a little bit of GSF here and there, and a little bit of PvP here and there, and some mandatory fun on our guild fun nights. So that was great. We had fun tonight on a little bit of explosive conflict, a little bit of Taboro's Courtyard, and one of the world bosses on Hoth, because it gave us conquest points, which we'll be talking about tonight. But before
Oh,
we get
that's an
into
awesome
what's that?
segue. But I was gonna say that's an awesome segue. But since we're doing it later, I guess it doesn't really count.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't. But before we get to that, we'll talk about some of the news.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
Little bit of news this week. Not really too much. In fact, it was mostly a repeat. There was a dev stream this past week, a day after, 2 days after when we podcasted last week. That was mostly a welcome to 2017. Here's what we told you already. Here's a little bit of a recap and a preview of what's to come. The preview of what's to come is what's most interesting to us, but we can do a quick run through. Anything jump out at you as the interesting parts of what they were recapping here for the first half of the month, Seema?
I guess what I no, not really. I was gonna say the fact that Life Day is ending on January 10th because when I was listening to him, I was wondering when it was going to end. I know they told us before, but yeah, so it's over now. It hasn't stopped people from throwing snowballs though, but we knew this already.
Yep, that will continue to be a pastime. So that has ended. We're looking forward to the January 24th update, which is game update 5.1, which is going to give us 5 new uprisings, which I am a little bit excited about. I don't play a ton of the uprisings, but I do like them. When I've done all of them. They are pretty cool. Anytime it's the bonus for Galactic Command, we'll still typically get in there and do a couple of them, and they're nice because they're easy to jump into. They're relatively dynamic content. The enemies keep coming at you relatively quickly, and you get through it relatively quickly. I remember that one night we were doing it. We were doing the veteran mode uprisings. It was the bonus. And we were getting a lot of command XP really quickly doing that, so that was nice. Of the new ones that they mentioned, the 5 new ones, Trench Runner on Denova sounds interesting. You're sort of fighting against a big Imperial Walker, I think, on that. Makeb, Destroyer of Worlds. Supposedly there's some dastardly creature that's been unearthed on Makeb. Apparently some Jedi has delved too deep and too greedily on Makeb and awoken an ancient threat of some kind. Rakata Prime, Landing Party. I forgot. Is that the one where they're trying to reassemble the space station, the Sky Palace?
I don't know.
What is the instance that we got for Knights of the Fallen Empire?
I just call it Ricotta Prime.
No, the
If you kept
flashpoint,
us right.
the flashpoint that we got for Knights of the Fallen
Yeah,
Empire.
yeah, I know what you're asking me, but I just call it Ricotta Prime.
No, the space station above every planet. There's 7 of them.
Oh, Star Fortress?
Yeah, Star Fortress. So one of them,
Sorry.
they're trying to assemble a Star Fortress, and you got to go stop them from doing that. Yes, thank you. Chat room. Star Fortress, Star Fortress. And then one of them was something like an, escort. You have to like defend a some sort of escort mission where you're escorting some sort of device of some kind. I only heard it secondhand. If there is some new mechanic and there is something really interesting like that, I'd be interested to see. That's what I'd like them to do with these. They have the flexibility because it's a smaller format to be doing really interesting things like that. Hopefully they'll be really breaking out of the box with some of these, and you'll get to try out something really interesting and new.
Well, that one, there is an uprising where there's a short little escort that we did already.
That bonus guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Red Reaper, right? Red Reaper. Red something. Red Reaper is a flashpoint.
Crimson something.
Crimson
Blood. It's blood.
Crimson Stain, whatever. So that one's a bonus. The guy's over in the bar, and if you go save him, he's in like a little brawl over on the side of the bar. If you kill the guy he's fighting, then everybody else in the bar gets pissed off, and they come after you. Crimson Fang, thank you. HZSS12 in the chat room. Two
Fang,
hands
right?
there.
Crimson Fang.
Thank you. But if you go and you go and help him with his little bar brawl, the rest of the people in the bar get all mad at you, and you got to kill all of them. And then he starts to RP walk through the whole rest of the little uprising there, all the way through. So he aggroes all of the trash ahead of you, which is really nice. And then he goes all the way to the final boss. He just keeps walking all the way up till he gets to the final boss, and then he punches her in the face too. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But if you could imagine a whole uprising based around like escorting a convoy or something, you defending a convoy as it gets to its objective, that would be pretty interesting.
So far, I like the uprisings, and I like that. I guess I'm not a millennial, but I like that they're short, and I like that you can,
Why do you have to
if
be
you
a
just
millennial for that? Are you saying millennials have
because
short attention
bite-sized
spans?
content for millennial, yeah.
Is that what that's supposed
Because
to be?
yeah, yes, that's what everyone says, but that are not millennials, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So I like the fact that if someone in Guild Chat says you want to run an uprising, you don't have to think, do I have half an hour free? Or
Right.
2 hours free if it's an ops or whatever. You can just go, yeah, let's do it.
Sure. Somebody need help? We'll go and do it.
Yeah.
And it gets some good galactic command for it and have a little fun. Yep. So that's good. The only other thing that everyone two other things. One, they are putting in on the 25th as part of that update the changes that will make it easier to do a couple things with the new gearing system and the command crates, which is adding the chance of tokens on all ops bosses and adding a specific token, 100% drop on the last boss of every operation that will give you a guaranteed, if you get that, roll amongst your 8 or 16 players that are in there going to get it. If you get that token, though, and team it up with a couple extra command tokens that you're getting from every crate, you can go and fill in set pieces that you want to get that people are having trouble filling in out of just the random drops in the crates. So this is being
And I'm
added
picturing
on.
them, it'll just be like the vendors used to be. So you'd build your little token, and then you'd go to the ops vendor, and you can say, I want a helm or a belt or
Yes.
whatever.
So this is in an effort for them to solve some of what they saw as the drawbacks in the RNG part of the command crate system, which is fine. And it is a step that does help with that to some degree. There's a couple of extra things that are supposedly part of that, where you have the potential to use some of those command tokens that drop off out of the crates to buy command XP boosts for your alts, so you can gear them up quicker. It's just adding, the big criticism is it's adding a level of complication to that whole system, which was supposed to simplify everything, and it sort of isn't.
Yeah. I think beyond making it quicker for people who do ops, I think it answers the criticism, though, that people had that there wasn't anything to go after.
And there was no way to get the specific piece that I needed to fill in my set.
Yeah, definitely. That was part of it. That's the making it quicker part. But the part that they couldn't say, I need a helm, so I want to, go do the end boss of Karaga's Palace, or the end boss of Dread Palace, or the end boss of whatever.
Right.
Now they can do that.
Now they can do that. So we'll see how that looks on the 24th. And then on the 25th, we're going to get a dev stream. And what they promised is some discussion, at least, on large group content for the rest of the year, whatever that's going to mean. This is where a lot of people are pinning some hopes, getting some expectations set, really at the the right level. I would love for this to be, here's what the new ops and war zones are going to look like, and here's when you're going to get them. I don't know if it's going to go that far. That's probably setting expectations a little bit too high, but that's what we're hoping for on the 26th. What about guild and community news? Oh, speaking of community news, one of the things that I definitely wanted to do a shout out from the dev stream was they did talk about some of the community content that's being out there being produced, and some of our pals got called out. Kid Lee had 2 videos that they called out specifically, the character creation options in 5.0 video. Good thing to check out if you're how that looks in 5.0 and how that's changed, and how you can accidentally roll level 60 characters as part of character creation very easily.
I should have watched the video first.
And then a second one.
I did get my token back. I went and tried
Oh, good.
just now.
Good.
So I'm happy now.
And a second one on character flair, and that's so we can all get our 15 pieces of flair. I did notice some of the ones that you can now get out of command crates that I saw a couple people walking around with. I have my little legacy one. A lot of people have the Roman numeral 1 or 2 for their or 3 for their command ranks. It's will be interesting to see what other kinds of flair that they add.
I saw some new ones in MFN tonight, but I didn't ask them what they were because I didn't want to give them the satisfaction
of recognizing their flair.
Right.
Well, the one that you got out of command crate is it's like got a little bit animated. It's got like little lightning on it, even on the flare above your name. So that's interesting. So we'll see what those look like. Let's see, Corellia Run Radio, they got their call out too, so that's awesome. Those guys are always fun to listen to. And then SWTOR got a couple call outs. One for her YouTube channel, The Academy, which is really good.
Yeah, it is.
Sort of like what we do with our segments where we're walking through something, but she does a nice video to go along with it, and a little more concise than us rambling on for a little while about the topic.
Like extremely more concise, yeah.
So those are good if you want to catch up on topics. Get a little 5-minute video on each war. I think she did one for each war zone, for example. So that's good stuff. And then she had a goofy video she did for Life Day. That she was surprised that they called out and was a little embarrassed about, but that was funny. So check those out too. It's a lot of good stuff coming from the community there. It's nice of them to continue to recognize that. So thanks BioWare for doing that for those guys. In other guild news, yes, we have been doing Conquest lately. What are we invading this week? we are invading, and we'll talk about more about what that means. But we're going to try to do a shout out, at least for our guild, on Tuesdays of what we're invading on our planets, and that's
It's Hoth on the pub side.
and I think Tatooine on the Imperial side.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about why we picked those planets. We have a guild on both sides, but why we pick those planets and how that works. But if you are in AIE on the Imperial side, then go after those bonuses like war zones and flashpoints that are on Tatooine. And on Hoth, you've got a bunch of, even a little bit of a one-time bonus for war supplies and Gargath and Snowblind on Hoth that you can go and kill. That we killed one of them tonight. The other ones were dead. But we'll talk about what kind of bonuses you can get in general on a weekly basis for that, and we'll talk about more in general in our segment. Anything else for the guild, Seema? Like how to join, if anyone needs to know?
Well, in case you've never heard me say this before, you can join our guild at any time by logging into Jedi Covenant. That's a server we're on. Join a channel called AIE LFO, which stands for AIE Looking for Officer. Say hello and we'll get you invited to the guild. That could be either on the pub side or the imp side. Evenings are the best time to find us there. Or if you happen to be in our Discord, you can always ask for an invite in Discord. We try to keep an eye on that during the day as well as, regular game times.
Yep, absolutely. Definitely come and check it out. Come join us. We have fun on Tuesday nights. Put a character in the guild. Come play. We have the most fun with new players, especially. We get to walk them through. We had nobody new tonight that hadn't been to EC or Taboro's Courtyard, so I didn't get to do story time and tell the whole story of where the ops came from and why we're there. I didn't get to tell the Kefas stories tonight, so get some new players, some more new players come along, and I'll tell you the story of why the ops are the way they are. Also, thank you to the chat room. Got a bunch of people in there tonight. Thanks a lot. I will already getting good feedback from you guys helping me remember names like Star Fortress, which is really difficult to remember, and
Crimson Fang.
Crimson. What did I call it? Crimson Stain. I like that better.
So close.
Crimson Stain. But with that, I think we can talk a little bit about some conquering of things and stuff.
Well, things here aren't as bad as when we first started, but if you ask me, the situation is still too close for comfort. I hate to sound like a looping hollow vid, but we need more contacts, more resources, and more people. Any help you could give us would go a long way.
Thank you, Hilo Viz. So Hilo, in this context, is telling us about all the stuff we need to conquer our foes and wield our prosperity as a weapon in Conquest. So Conquest has been around for a while. It wasn't in vanilla. Do they call it? Do we call it vanilla? It wasn't at launch. It was added later in the game, and it's a system that provides an additional layer of sort of weekly goals and achievements that you can do both individually and as a guild. So we'll talk about how to do it individually and how to do it as a guild, what the rewards are, and how you go about making it happen. You do not need to be in a guild to participate in Conquest, but to get full advantage and full sort of participation in the system and really see what's going on, you do want to be in a guild. And your guild needs to have a guild ship, and we'll talk about how that works. Each week, starting on Tuesday, at least on the US, or I think on all the servers, each week starting on Tuesday, the week of Conquest starts. So Conquest starts on Tuesday, and it ends Sunday night or Monday morning of the following week. Each week also has a different theme. So this week the theme is called Emergency Operations. There's a little bit of narrative behind what that means. And that theme changes what bonuses and achievements that you would be going after for the week. So this week is Emergency Operations. Next week is Death Mark, which is all sort of very PvP focused. Then the week after that is called Clash in Hyperspace, which is very GSF focused. But there's a variety of achievements that are happening each week. So if you hit L, if you bring up your log panel, the second tab over is Conquest. You take a look at that when the week starts. You'll get the full view of what the different planets are that you can invade and what the individual achievements are then across Conquest for the week. You get the countdown timer too that's showing you how long is left on Conquest. If you are in a guild, you'll want to look at the planets as well. And there'll be between 3 and as many as 8 or so planets that show up depending on the theme for the week. And your guild can go and invade a planet, and you can see next to these planets different bonuses you get. But again, whether or not you do, let's first dive into personal contribution and your personal conquest. If your guild isn't invading a planet, then you won't have the extra planetary bonuses on these. But all of these achievements are still there and available for you as to get your personal target. So you want to kick it off with personal contribution and personal targets, Seema, and even what you do.
When you're looking at that Conquest tab, the right side shows basically the leaderboard, the position of all the guilds, but the left side shows how you earn those Conquest points each week. And there's a personal target and then there's a guild target. So if you're outside of a guild and you're just going to work on the personal target, then this is the information that you need to figure out how you would get your points. If you're in a guild, this is still the information you need to figure out how to get your points. It's exactly the same, except for if your guild is invading a planet, some bonuses will be applied and it'll make it a little bit easier to get to your personal target. So usually the personal target is 25,000 points, but there's something that can be changed according to which type of week it is. Like we just came off a week where there was a bunch of crafting was available, and that because crafting is the easier way to get points than some of the other ways, the personal target was at 50,000 points. But basically, in general, it's sort of like Command XP in that many things that you do to play the game anyway, you can do to make Conquest points for. You can get Conquest points for some types of crafting. You can get Conquest points for doing war zones. You can get Conquest points for doing GSF, operations, flashpoints. Not for uprisings, though. We haven't seen that yet, have we?
No, not at the moment. They haven't added uprisings in as a conquest target that I've seen.
So what you want to do is look at that left side of the panel, and it will tell you what you can craft to get points this week, which flashpoints to do to get points this week, or ops, or how many points you'll get for GSF if GSF is available as a target this week. And yeah, that's how you get your points.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I guess I should add that some things you can do over and over again, they're repeatable. Sometimes you can only do one time. Like most operations, yes, you can only do one time. So you say you get 2,000 points for doing Dread Fortress. Once you do Dread Fortress once, that's all the points you're going to get for it on any character.
Yeah, so the one-time targets are one time across your legacy. So you can look, as you look at that tab on the left and you're looking at all these different, you're sort of clicking through and seeing what you can do. If it's just got the little X and how many points you get, X, you see here it's like, X 2,000 for crafting any war supply. So if I craft a war supply, I get 2,000 points. And then this is checked off, and I can't get it on any other character in my legacy for that week. The ones that have the little infinity sign means you can do that repeatably, right? So here, if I win a Warzone match because of my bonus, because the green means I'm getting a little bit of a multiplier on it as well. But the little infinity sign means every time I win, I'm going to get this 1,000 points for Conquest. So if I win 20 matches, I've made my Conquest target. However, there's one right next to it that if I just play an unranked Warzone match, I'll get 500 points. So it's really, if I win, I'm getting 1,500. If I lose, I'm still getting 500. A lot of things then build up and give you Conquest points. Some of the repeatable objectives require you to have a daily or a weekly. So here, this repeatable objective for completing a random flashpoint, for example, I would get 2,000 points for completing a random flashpoint. However, I need to do it with Group Finder, and I need to be eligible for the daily reward. So you can only do this one time per character per day. So still repeatable, but some limitations. So keep an eye out for those, and you'll see why you're getting some points and why not other times. The key really is to look at and make sure you're aware of what's going to give you points just one time, and make sure you don't do that on an alt that you're not bothering to do Conquest on if you're trying to get to that personal target on only one character.
Right, that's really good advice.
Don't waste it. I've done that before, where I've sort of like wasted it.
Yeah, so have I.
Especially for each week, usually crafting an invasion force gives you a significant amount of points, 2,000 to 4,000 points for the week, but you can only do it once across your legacy. So don't have it cooking on a character and forget and log in that character on Tuesday, and because when you log in after it's created is when you get the points. And then get it on some character that you weren't going to do Conquest on that week. I've done that. The other thing that I do tend to do, and I just roll with it, is we'll do things on Mandatory Fun Night on Tuesday night, which is the first night of the week for Conquest, and it may complete a Conquest objective, but I may be running on an alt because maybe I was tanking for the night, and is not going to be the character that I was planning on doing my Conquest target on for the week. But I completed that, like here, I killed Gargath tonight. I got my 3,000 points plus some extra bonuses on top of that. And I can't kill Gargath for points on any other character, so hopefully this is going to be the character that I wanted those points on. So something to keep an eye on. So let's talk for another second about bonuses, because there's two kinds of bonuses. One is guild bonus if you're in a guild and your guild invades a planet. Before your guild invades a particular planet, your guild should be looking to see what bonuses that gives you. And you may pick a planet in order to get those bonuses, or you may pick a different planet for a different reason. We'll get to that when we get to guilds competing against other guilds for top 10. The other place you can get bonuses is from this right down here called the Stronghold bonus. Your Stronghold bonus can be between 0 and 125%, and that's a multiplier on the base value, not the planet invasion multiplied value, but the base value. So if the base value for this week is 2,000 points for crafting an invasion force, and I have 100% bonus, that means I would get 4,000, an extra 2,000 bonus points for crafting an invasion force because of my Stronghold bonus. If I have a planetary bonus of another 2x multiplier, I'll get another 2,000 for that, so a total of 6,000 is what I would get then. The value you see on the board is the value of the base plus the planetary bonus from your guild invading that planet. So here you can see the ones that are lit up green next to mine is because our guild is invading Hoth. 2,000 is just base and no bonus. 4,000 here for this one for completing an operation is because we have a 2x multiplier because we invaded Hoth. So that means it's 2,000 base and we got a 2x multiplier. Those multipliers can be 2 times, they can be 3 times. Keep an eye out and check out what bonuses your guild might be going after that will affect then how valuable each of these targets will be for you. And why are we doing this? For fun, obviously, of course. But if you hit your personal target, you do get a set of rewards. So, Seema, why don't you walk us through the rewards and why we like these different kinds of rewards, why you might want them?
Well, first of all, if you hit your independent of if you're in a guild or if your guild is hitting its goal, which we haven't really touched on yet, but you're going to get a token for 25k credits, so that's something. Then you also get, let me bring up my copy of the screen here because I was zoning just then. You also get a gathering lockbox, which is actually a container which inside will contain a deco that you can put in any of your strongholds that allows you to harvest it once every 4 hours, or sometimes you get lucky and you can do it more than in once. But it could be any of the scavenging mats which including slicing that you can get in planets up to grade, I want to say grade 8. Because I don't think they added it in for Yavin or...
Yeah, I don't think it went up to 9 or 10. Definitely went up to grade 8. So
yeah.
And you get 3 of them. So three random gathering nodes will drop. But yeah, it can be any of them. In fact, I go to my room on Tatooine where I've got a room that's filled of all of them. HZ says it only goes up to 7.
7, okay.
Rank
thanks.
7 of the nodes. But it can be any of the, and then any bioanalysis up to 7, any scavenging, any slicing lockboxes. They're also pretty cool, just looking decorations. So here I've got like all of the archaeology nodes, the archaeology crystals, and a lot of them are sort of really cool looking. There are these glowy crystals and these little pots that you can put your stronghold. But as Seema said, you can click on it once and gather that particular material. And then there's like a 50-50 chance that you'll get a cooldown debuff that will stop you from gathering from any of these nodes for 4 hours. But it's like a 50-50 chance. So if you don't get it, see there, I got it. So maybe it's even more than a 50-50 chance. But if you don't get it, then you can gather again. You can pick another node to go after and get something else again. And then what else were you saying, Seema? You get the credits.
Yeah, I was just going to say you get, we tend to call everything Jawa junk now, but you get the blue Jawa junk and the green Jawa junk, 10 of the blue and 15 of the green. Mm-hmm. And then you get 2 superior resource matrix, which is a purple crafting mat, tier 2 exotic crafting material, which is used for crafting I want to say the gear that you make with schematics that you get from command crates, tier 1 command crates, or anyway, purple tier 2 exotic crafting material is what it is, superior resource matrix.
Right. So remember, there's 2 of those tier 2 exotic crafting materials and these are the current ones that are for the current tier of gear. These are the MK10 versions of these things. They're each used for something slightly different in the crafting of the schematics. One is used for schematics that drop out of operations, I think, and one is used for reverse engineered mods that you create, and one is used of the 2 is used for the schematics that drop out of command crates. And somebody told me which was which, but you do need these for crafting some of that stuff, so they are pretty valuable. They sell pretty well on the GTN as well. But yeah, I call all of this stuff Jawa junk, but I think it's technically called Jawa scavenging scrap or something.
No, it's the blue one's called
colon.
Assorted droid parts, and the green one is called scavenge scrap. But yeah,
so
if someone said scavenge scrap to me, I would not know that they meant Jawa junk.
Yeah, I think the purple one actually is called Jawa junk, so we just call them all Jawa junk. These right. You go and turn into those little Jawas. Those Jawas live on the fleet in the Cartel Bazaar. You can go and turn these in for either crafting materials. I think the purple ones you can turn in for some better stuff too, like some of the more rare companion gifts, as well as companion customizations for companions like the Act Dog. So my Act Dog that's got the green skin instead of the red skin, that's where I got that skin. So they're valuable too. So there. Bunch of rewards. Since I'm under 70, I would also get 150k experience points. So that's a little thing to do on the side. Get some rewards, get some experience points, get some valuable crafting materials, make some credits if you want. That's all stuff that you can use in game, and it has value. I tend to do it at least on one character per week, just to be building up a stack of these superior resource matrix So as our guild gets into crafting more of the gear to fill in, especially as we're grinding out our new gear sets, we want a collection of these to be able to make some of the extra pieces that we want. How much of your personal targets do you hit per week on a regular basis, Seema?
Oh, I'm very unpredictable. Like last time we had the crafting week, I hit the target on 8 characters. And then I'll go a week where I don't do it on any characters or 1 character. So I go back and forth. How about you?
I tend to do it on one character. If it's like that crafting week, maybe I'll do it on more characters. I was doing it on 2 characters because I was sort of doing PvE on 1 character and PvP on another character. I usually hit my personal target due to GSF and PvP. So if there's a bunch of PvE bonuses also, and I've got like a separate main character, which is what I was doing in the last expansion, I had PvPing on my Sork and PvE on my Merc. I would hit it on my Merc because of the PvE bonuses and objectives, and I would hit it on my Sork just because of PvP. But nowadays, since I'm PvPing and PvEing on my Merc, I'm just racking up points there.
I do want to say we haven't really touched on this. We've just been saying crafting, but when we're talking about crafting in this context, it's very specific things that you craft. And in your trade skill window, it's going to be in the section called Strongholds and Conquests. So you make war supplies. Unfortunately, you can't get conquest points for making, augment kits or augments or anything that you could then also sell. Although you can sell these war supplies if there's a market for them, because other people, not the war supplies, but the components that make the war supplies, or the mats to make the war supplies. But yeah.
Yeah. So you gotta keep an eye on that, and that is quite specific. There's something like 5 different specific war supplies, and then those all can get combined to create the invasion force, which is sort of like a meta supply. Yeah, so there's 5 different sub-supply components: the infantry supply kits, armor vehicles, holocronus strategies, starship weapons, and crystal capacitors. Every crafting skill is able to make 1 or 2 of those, but you can't make all 5 on a single crafting skill. So you'll either need to trade with other people or have all 3 major, or at least 3 different crafting skills to get them all. Like you need synth weaving and artifice to be making crystal capacitors and holocrons of strategy, for example. Here on my biochem, I can only make infantry supply kits. So you need that. So when you're looking at the bonuses on the Conquest screen, they'll either be an objective to craft any war supply. So if you have any crafting skill, you can craft that war supply. And sometimes it's repeatable. One of the weekly themes makes it repeatable. Otherwise, it's not. And then there's almost always a one-time objective to create an invasion force, which is putting them all together to make the invasion force. If there aren't bonuses, or if you have bonuses from where your guild has invaded, keep an eye on them, because they might be, say you can make armor vehicles and starship weapons. You may have multipliers only on starship weapons, and this happened last week, and we had somebody in the guild who was making a bunch of armor vehicles and didn't realize that the bonuses also were specific to particular components. So check it out. That's what we're going to try to call out for our guildies each week when there are little extra specific tricks, like, hey, this week only make the starship weapons if you can. You can make unlimited numbers of invasion forces this week and get bonuses off of it. Keep that in mind. So for us this week, we've invaded Hoth. We get no bonuses for any of the war supplies or any of the crafting. You can make an invasion force, and you can make any of the war supplies only once per legacy for a total of 2,000 points each. So maximum of 4,000 points this week across your legacy for crafting. So not so great for crafters this week. There's almost always repeatable objectives for GSF and PvP. So that's where I get most of my Conquest points, is just doing GSF and PvP over and over, queuing up. Usually there's a participatory amount of points, win or lose, queue up and you get some points, and then an extra bonus if you win on top of that. And those are almost always repeatable. This week there's repeatable for heroics. So let's talk about that, because I have used this in the past. So this is repeatable for doing any heroic mission on Belsavis, and there's a repeatable bonus for doing any heroic mission on Hoth. Now, go ahead, Seema, because this gets tricky.
Right. So yes, what I was going to say if you're not level 70, then it doesn't help for them to be repeatable, right? Because you can only do them once in a week. The Belsavis ones are also weekly, aren't they? Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Right. So what I don't know, and maybe this is what you're going to get into, is when you are level 70 and you can use the Galactic Command screen to do planetary missions, that does make them repeatable. What I don't know is if they continue to count toward Conquest.
Yes,
but I intend to
do.
test that out this week. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good.
So that's the key. So under 70, and the way this used to work for Conquest was, hey, you can do these heroics, but the heroics we checked off for the week, and you did them once, and they were done. So one character could do all of the heroics on Belsavis and get 500 Conquest points for each of them, but then you did all 5, you got 2,500, and you were done. What you can do now at level 70 is you go into the Conquest screen. What is that? Control G. Now I'm not level 70 on this character just yet, but if you look over here, it's sort of dimmed out. But planetary missions, you click on planetary missions on your Conquest screen. Come back. You click on planetary missions, it'll give you some random planet to go after, right? If you click cancel, because it's not Belsavis, not the one you wanted, you can keep going until it comes back to Belsavis. The thing with Galactic Command is, if you come back tomorrow, you can do Belsavis again. So it's not weekly if you're 70 and you're doing it through the Galactic Command interface. You might also even be able to do it from the console on the fleet, but this is the easiest way to do it.
You're working toward Conquest and Command XP.
Right.
At that point.
Right. So double bonus, and it's something you could do on multiple characters pretty easily. So this is a great week for this in particular. And because our guild on the Republic side has invaded Hoth, we're getting like a triple bonus on Hoth, which is giving us 1,500 points per heroic mission. So again, shout out for our guild, and this is what you would want to look at for your guild, is where you're getting the most bonus. Go and do, on your level 70 character, all of the Hoth, the planetary missions on Hoth, each day on each character that you want to hit your personal target on. You go do that a few days, three or 4 days, and you'll hit your personal target. That alone will get it done for you. So that's something to keep an eye on. Just a quick word back that the chat room wanted to remind me. And this is good to keep in mind. The invasion force itself does count as a war supply. So if you do an invasion force, it will check off both of these, and you'll get in this case, I would get 4,000 for just creating just an invasion force, if I happen to have a bunch of this stuff left over, which, as you can see, I do. This is in my legacy storage. I've got tens of each of these just from all the older Conquest weeks. So again, good stuff there. This is taking a long time. It's quite complicated, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's dive into how the guild overlays on top of this and what that does. You want to kick it off?
Yeah. So what Max is talking about is a guild can choose a planet to invade, basically, and that modifies the amount of points that you get towards when you're doing these activities. and that will count towards your personal target. So in our case, on the pub side this week, we've invaded Hoth, so that means that we get a bonus whenever we complete Operation Dread Palace. Normally you would get 2,000 points for it, but because of this bonus, we get 4,000 points for it. And then we already talked about the bonus you also get for your stronghold being whatever percentage complete it is.
Yep.
So that's one thing. The other thing is if your guild finishes in the top 10, and that's what you'll see on the right side of the Conquest panel, if it finishes in the top 10 for the week, then your guild has quote-unquote made its target, and there's another little amount of rewards that you get for that. And after that's computed, you get a token that's worth 50,000 credits. You get another gathering lockbox, and then you get 10 of the purple Jawa junk, and then you get a choice of one of the 3 types of encryptions. And encryptions are specifically for opening up. They go towards opening up sections in the guild ship, so they are specifically for the guild.
Yep. That's the main use for those. They're also valuable on the GTN.
That's right. Yeah, they are.
We just opened the hallway on our Republic side, which we hadn't bothered to open anything up. We just opened the hallway tonight and a hangar, and each of those was 4 frameworks each, and each framework takes 50 encryptions. There's other ways to get encryptions. You could be killing Conquest commanders on planets, but the main way that people tend to get them is by completing your guild target here. So there we needed 400 encryptions total just to unlock the hallway and the first hangar on our ship. So lots of encryptions are needed. But yeah, again, it's getting in this top 10 list then makes you the contender. If you finish in the top 10 after the conquest ends, then on Tuesday, sort of Monday is the calculation day, making they go through and run the script on the back end to allocate the rewards. But when you log in Tuesday, then you'll get this pop up that gives you the three pieces you're supposed to get, and your ability to choose one of the 3 kinds of encryptions.
So if you made your personal target and the guild ended up in the top 10, that's when you get these guild rewards.
Yeah, each character you made the personal target on and your guild hit the top 10, those characters get this rewards. But you have to also make your personal target.
So there's a lot goes into choosing which planet to invade each week, because there's some really big guilds out there that take Conquest fairly seriously. So you may want to avoid the planets where you think they're going to end up, or you may want to be on the planets where they're going to be, or you might have a competition going with your buddy's guild, and you want to be on the same planet or different planets for that. You may want to be on a planet that has bonuses that suits your guild better in some way or other. Like if you have a lot of people that are doing a lot of GSF, then that might affect what planet you want to invade. So it's a little bit of a decision point every week. We're lucky because we have Arv to do that. Arv does it for us every week, and he does a great job of it.
Yep, he decides where we're gonna invade, mostly based on bonuses that we're going after, and mostly based on what we do on each side most appropriately. So that's working out really well for us. And then finally, that leads us to really the core, one of the core intentions of the whole Conquest system, which is the guild competition. So not only hitting the top 10 and competing against other guilds to stay in the top 10, and there's a lot of contention around 9, 10, 11, and 12 on some of the weeks, but there's also that contention for number 1 and winning a planet. What you get when you win a planet is your guild gets everybody who hit their personal target also gets a legacy title for that particular planet that you won, and then you get a couple of sort of minor perks for that planet for that week. So on that planet you can also ride around on these cool Imperial walkers that are Conquest specific that you can use for the week. You also get a special a guild ship ability that's usable on that planet for that week. You got to sort of craft a token that allows you to buy that ability, but it's a starfighter flyby of some kind. And that's a useful tool in a couple ways. One, you could use it in open world PvP. You can also use it for the Galactic Conquest commanders that are on the planets. When a special named commander appears, for the first hour or so that named commander is standing around on the planet that you're going after, your guild can use that ability to knock out their shield and kill that commander first. Otherwise, you have to wait about the hour for that shield to expire, and then any guild can go after it and get it, and kill those named commanders. Named commanders tend to drop frameworks. Remember I said at 50 encryptions equal a framework? Named commanders tend to have a chance to drop a framework, so that's quite valuable.
Right.
But yeah, that guild competition gets pretty interesting, and that's why you have, see here on this planet, Oricon. You've got all these guilds, 3 through 10, that are in the 6 to 150,000 range, but the number 1 and 2 slots are these two bigger guilds, Courageous and Sanctuary, who are at 1.4 and 1.6 million already on Tuesday. So these guilds are focused on Conquest, and now they're battling it out for this top spot. They want to win the planet. There's also a meta achievement and title for going through and winning every single planet. So there's quite an incentive for Conquest-focused guilds to be both winning particular planets and winning planets each week, because that's what they do. So little guild competition that's built into this system, and that was one of the main reasons that this system was put in the game. We've never won a planet, but we've had plenty of competition even around the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ranks, of trying, making sure we get on the board and knocking other guilds off of the board, and it coming down to the wire and having a lot of competition right down here around the 9, 10, 11, and people getting knocked out at the last minute. Queuing a bunch of things up, a bunch of crafting when on the crafting week, queuing a bunch of stuff up and logging it at 6 a.m. on Monday before that final reset, which happens around 7 a.m. Central, and getting those final points to keep your guild on the board. There's significant guild competition both at the all the way across that top 10. So keep an eye on that. Flip through those planets once in a while, and you'll see where some of the big Conquest focused guilds are, and what they're doing, and where they're hitting the big planets and getting tons and tons of points off of them. Other than that, things have changed. You used to have crafting every week, so crafting would be the big thing that all the Conquest guilds would do. Now they only have that one themed week that comes up once every month or two, that allows you to craft unlimited amounts to get and that's when you'll see guilds that are up there, like, here you'll have guilds finishing at like 10 million for the week. Those weeks I've seen guilds hit 100 million.
It's crazy.
The other thing to keep in mind, even if you don't do any Conquest, especially when that crafting week comes along, all crafting materials of all ranks, 2 through 8, 2 through 9, are all become quite valuable.
Right, and this is the green ones, not the ones from crew skill missions. Right. The green ones that you scavenge, bioanalyze, archaeologize, those. Right.
So if you're hoarding, if you're doing a bunch of gathering and hoarding a bunch of those materials, those are great weeks to unload them on the GTN. You'll see prices spike, and it's a great opportunity to make some extra creds. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go probably do some more GSF and PvP this week to hit my targets. What about you, Seema?
I'm thinking, for me, I generally stick to crafting and weekly heroics and any ops that I can get myself into.
Yes, that's right. The heroics are going to be good this week because I love getting and I do. It works out really well getting both the Galactic Command points for doing them and getting the Conquest. You sort of feel a double that double hit of achievement, getting both those sets of points doing them.
Yes.
So I probably will do some of that this week too. But I think that is it for Conquest. It is quite an extensive system, sort of buried in there. Have fun with it if you do get a chance to try it out sometime and see what you can do. And with that, our EPC 177 droid here is ready to head out. Thanks to everybody for joining us on newoverlords.com, on iTunes, on YouTube, or live here on Twitch. Big thanks to the chat room who was adding input all night. We will stream again next Tuesday night on twitch.tv/newoverlords around 10:30 p.m. Central. Please follow us on Twitter @MaxTheGray and @AIESEMA. And certainly come find us on Jedi Covenant and ask us for an AIE Guild invite. We would love to have you. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.